Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. We're on the test server. Thank you to Plarium as always for letting us come on here to make this content for you. And these champions I'm going to be showing you today should be coming to the game probably on Wednesday or more likely on Thursday. I mean, we'll see exactly when the patch goes live, but certainly with the launch of the new Fusion on Thursday, all of these champions should be in there and available for you to get. And there's some really good ones in here, some really good ones. So let's dive in. There are a few epics. Now, bearing in mind, it's not a traditional fusion for Jetni the Giant. She's just a fragment collector. So these epics shouldn't be playing a part in that, I'm pretty sure. They're just going to be new epics in the pool. So first up, we have Ilsinia, who is a Force Affinity HP champion for the High Elves. I think this champion looks really cool, actually. Really badass. Very creepy, the eyes, actually. Has a bit of like evil porcelain doll vibe to her. I like it. Lancer, her A1, attacks one enemy, 30 booking to a 50% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. Okay, all right. Exorciating Light, 4-turn booking to a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies. Before attacking has a 50 booking to 80% chance of removing any block debuffs from the enemies, and also has a 50 booking to 80% chance of placing block buffs on all enemies after attacking. That's interesting. I'll say this is a bit awkward. The fact it's an 80% chance of each, there's a obviously then a 20% chance it doesn't do either effect. With Sniper, we can up that to, I'm not sure if it would affect the removal. It would certainly affect the block buffs. We could bring that up to 85%, which is pretty decent. We're also going to run into affinity issues as well, that she could weak hit and fail to do these effects with a weak hit. Seems okay-ish. I mean, it is nonetheless a 3-turn cooldown. Let's assume you're going to have Sniper. 3-turn cooldown, 85% chance block buffs. That's a decent move to have. Not as good as Ugo. I don't know, the removal, we'll see the rest of her kit. Maybe not as good as Umbral Enchantress even for Hydra, but I mean, for epics, it's not bad. Like I said, it's not as good as Ugo, but it's not bad for Hydras. All right. Shield of Aravia, 6-turn booking to a 4-turn cooldown. Put a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns equal to 20% this champion's max HP. And also put a 15% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. Actually a really solid move. 4-turn cooldown. Solid enough shield. She's got really good base HP, actually. And then the small version of Strengthen, but that's still a useful thing to have. Again, I think that's a very solid Hydra move that adds a ton of survivability to your team, but it's not up all the time. Inviolable Nobility or passive, healer by 30% max HP whenever a shield buff placed by Shield of Aravia expires, is removed, or is broken by an enemy attack. Intriguing. That's intriguing. We'll see how hard she hits. Seems like an okay support champion for Hydra. Nothing crazy here, but, you know, a nice shield and strengthen, albeit on a long cooldown. Block debuff removal and block buffs. On a 3-turn cooldown is good, but not the best chances. Her A1 stealing a random buff, I mean, that's quite useful to remove increased attack from the Head of Wrath or something like that if the block buffs fail to place. So she seems all right. Not too exciting. Looks cool, though. But yeah, seems okay. Next up then, we have, in the Barbarians, of course, we have Jetni the Giant, who's looking pretty giant. I mean, there's Altan. You can see how tall he is relative to this tree. And there's Jetni, so she's pretty big. We compare it to Raf Matab. The tree's much bigger. Rorik, and so on. Valkyrie, I don't know. You get a bit of a gist in terms of how much it zooms out, I suppose. The zoom effect. She's big. We can see from her stats, she actually has really high base attack, 1586, that's good. 63% crit damage, 100 speed. Does have 10 base accuracy. She's got a few different debuffs that she has in her kit. 10 accuracy is not going to make too much of a difference there. 15k HP, 969 defense. She's going to be pretty squishy. But yeah, she looks set to hit pretty hard. So that's cool. And she looks freaking badass. She is literally a giant, which is always good. Her partner in crime then, Alsgor Crimsonhorn, who, number one, looks super cool. Actually, he looks kind of like Barbarian Arthas Menethil from Warcraft 3, right? He's sort of got the blue eyes. He's got the long hair. He's starting to go evil. He's got the sort of paladin-style hammer, but then he's in barbarian armor. Interesting. Looks very cool. He is a HP-based legendary, so he's got very good base HP, solid defense, fairly dodgy speed, not much crit damage, so not expecting him to hit super hard. A lot of base resistance, so yeah, you're looking at probably a very tanky champion, one would think, off of these stats. Let's see then. Thunderous Maul is A1. Attack one enemy, heal them by 20% of the damage dealt, and has a 40 that books to a 60% chance to increase the duration of 2 random debuffs on the target champion by 1 turn. That's a bit weird that it says target champion. Does it just mean target? Does this not work against bosses? I'm kind of confused. Are bosses champions? I don't know. Let's assume it works on everyone. So healing him based off damage, maybe he does hit hard. And then, yeah, increasing 2 random debuffs. 60% chance, not bad. Crack the Sky, his A2, 4 turn, booking to a 3 turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, 75 booking to 100% chance of removing 2 random buffs from all enemies, 75 booking to 100% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, even if this attack lands as a weak hit, if Jetni the Giant is on the same team, and also puts continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Ooh, interesting. So we've got an AoE with a double buff removal and continuous heal on the whole team. So building into that sort of tanky idea, the damage is based on HP. Maybe he hits hard. 2 buff removal. I mean, it would help you get through Stone Skin at the start of a fight or immunity set, something like that. Going to remove a few buffs, but not all of them. I definitely think that this becomes so much better, doesn't it, when Jetni the Giant is there, removing all buffs, even from weak hits. So it's just a full enemy team strip with continuous heal, also do a bit of damage. Yeah, interesting. So it's an okay move if she isn't there. If Jetni the Giant is in there, it is a great move. Of course, bearing in mind polymorph is a big thing in Arena at the moment and all sort of tanky champions. So there's a good chance he polymorphs himself with this, of course. Is A3 then Resounding Rally, 6 turn booking to 4 turn, fully heal target ally and put block damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now that is an exciting move. Now that is very, very good. We have, at the moment in the game, Wasgar the Tower has a block damage on all allies for 2 turns. And of course, Helicath has block damage on all allies for 2 turns. Those champions open up unkillable teams for Demon Lord Clan Boss. It is a huge deal, a massive deal. So yeah, that is very... And also just generally, for any wave-based content, for any arena content, block damage on your whole team for 2 turns, every 4 turns is pretty big deal. Plus healing an ally too. Yeah, that is pretty exciting. Then Trammel, his passive, doesn't... Hang on. I know this is going off topic here. Slight spoilers from maybe an up comment. Doesn't... He has untrammeled. I wonder what happens if Owella is there. You could be untrammeled. And what does trammel even mean? I have no idea what a trammel is, but you'll get trammel. It looks like it's something to do with, you know, hurting your ankle or something like that. When attacked, has a 50% chance of placing a big version of decreased speed on the attacker for 2 turns. Chance increases to 100% if Jetni the Giant is on the same team. All right, so it's a decent passive. I'd say the thing that's kind of nice about this, actually, if you look at him for Iron Twins, right, he's bringing block damage for 2 turns and a 4 turn. And then he's also bringing decreased speed with a passive. That's pretty big for Iron Twins. I actually use, what's his name? I use Lord Chamfort. He's got a similar passive. He puts the small version of decreased speed whenever he is attacked. And that's very useful. Very, very useful for that. So Alsgore looking pretty spicy there for Iron Twins. Basically, whenever you get buffs, if the boss in Iron Twins doesn't have decreased speed, he starts getting tons of turn meter. So this locks that down, makes it much easier. What about this for Iron Twins? I mean, he's just putting out healing. The buff removal is not important. Ooh, that's very good as well. Increasing debuffs on the target. If that works against the Iron Twins boss, increasing like Geomancer Burns, it's going to give you a very good team for that. Lots of healing. Yeah, cool. Ally resist in all battles, 60 as well. Interesting. So Alsgore, he's looking interesting, man. This is a very spicy one because this affects how good the fusion is because he's their partner champion. I'd say Iron Twins, this guy looks like an absolute MVP. Demon Lord Clan Boss, this guy looks like an MVP. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Jetni the Giant is any... Well, maybe she's okay there, but she's nothing special in those areas. Now, in terms of Arena, where Jetni the Giant is really good, how good is this guy? He's still solid. He's still going to bring in buff removal and healing. The AoE block damage is very good. But he's not crazy. He's not crazy good, I'd say, for Arena. He's good, but like I'd rather have Helicath. I think Helicath is maybe a bit better. I think the two of them together are going to be potent because of this full buff strip. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think of Alsgore Crimson Horn? Like I said, I think this champion, given that he is the partner for the fusion, I think there's a pretty good chance we see him crop up in like a hero's path, or more likely maybe a big champion training tournament. Some big whale fest basically to get this guy. Like, if you pull this guy and you had the fusion, what would you think of the two together? Are you excited? Are you not? I am curious to hear. Then we've got, let's go to Sylvan Watchers first. We'll end with the Ogre. And we've got one epic here. Riadan the Blue, who looks, again, very creepy. A bit of that sort of porcelain doll vibe. I like it. I definitely like the creepy look. Yeah, that's cool. What's he got? Little elf? Little fairy or something? Yeah, he's got like a little fairy on his bottle. That's nice. That's nice. A bit of a White Walker vibe, right? I like it. I like it. So, he's a support champion. That's really nothing too special. He's got like a little bit of survivability, but his stats are fairly average across the board. Yep, his A1, Frostbark Blade. Attack one enemy 3 times. Each hit a 25 booking to 35% chance of placing freeze. Now that will get a lot better with Fearsome Presence. You could up that to a 40% chance per hit, triple hitter. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Razor Hail is A2, 4-turn booking to 3-turn AoE attack, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 45 booking to 65% chance of placing freeze. We can up that to 70% chance per hit of freeze with Fearsome Presence. All right. Blessing of the Blue, 5-turn booking to 3-turn cooldown, places increased speed, big version on all allies for 2 turns, and fills turn meter by 15%. What about this? Snow Dancer fills this champion's turn meter by 5% for each freeze debuff placed by this champion. Okay, Gory. We've got a new Gory in town, basically. We have a new champion, clearly designed for Fire Knight Hard. Triple hit with freeze on the A1, helping take down the shield, and again, the freeze for the turn meter. Double hit even with freeze, better chance of freeze on the A2. I wonder which is better, like, you just let him use both abilities on auto and the Fire Knight? I'm assuming so. I'm assuming you probably would, because the better chance for this, even though it's double hit, might be stronger. Then, of course, increase speed and turn meter to keep you going quick. And yeah, even getting turn meter here as well. This guy definitely seems designed for, like I said, Fire Knight Hard, going fast and keeping the shield down on the boss. I like that he has an AoE with a very good chance for freeze as well. It's going to help you to lock down the waves, and then he can focus on the boss. And yeah, he seems quite auto-friendly, actually, for the boss as well, for Fire Knight Hard. So this guy seems good, and nice to see them add champions for that. Of course, the stats are so crazy on the higher levels of Fire Knight. I don't know how viable it is, but certainly the lower levels of Fire Knight Hard you can do. We'll come to Grazur last. We've got another epic first to look at. First, truly a handsome man. Is this the new best-looking champion in the game? Wasgar. Look at that mouth. Oh, man. And then he's got this spiky neck piece as well. He's got dreadlocks. Cool. He's got a skull on his back. This guy looks ridiculous, and I'm here for it. This guy looks super cool. HP-based epic. Great base HP. Actually pretty good. Base speed 105 is nice and decent defense. So, okay, cool. A good, solid HP-based stat line here. Restorative Violence. Attack one enemy 4 times. Quad hitter. Each hit heals the ally with the lowest HP by 2% of this champ's max HP. So he's putting out 8% of his max HP in healing per A1. All right. Shaman's Gift. 6-turn booking to a 3-turn cooldown. Heals all allies by 10% of this champ's max HP. It's a very small heal. And also puts counterattack on this champion for 2 turns. Fire Knight, here we go. Tusked Protection, 6-turn booking to a 3-turn. Oh, even more Fire Knight. Puts a reflect damage buff and a shield buff equal to 20% of this champ's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. And Ogren Restoration restores destroyed max HP. Whenever this champion heals themselves or an ally, the amount of HP restored is equal to 30% of the heal. Yo, this guy actually seems great. This is a really nice looking epic. Really, really nice. This guy screams Fire Knight Hard and Hydra. So for Fire Knight Hard, shield and reflect damage. So shield helps you survive the Fire Knight hits. That's good. The reflect damage knocks some points off the shield when he hits you. When he does hit you, he's going to give himself counterattack. And he's going to have a quad hitter to help knock. So lots of stuff in here to help knock down the shield. He's also healing your team with his A1 and his passive. And that is going to be restoring destroyed max HP, which the Fire Knight does. So that's all really good. For Hydra, looks pretty solid as well. Shield is pretty nice on a short cooldown. That's cool. The reflect damage kind of just there. Giving himself counterattack. And then again, healing with those counterattacks. He could potentially be a mischief tank for you in Hydra, which is kind of interesting. That could be kind of useful. It might run into kind of a, I don't know, it might be a bit awkward if it might have to build him very fast if he's going to work for Fire Knight Hard. Even healing destroyed max HP is good for Hydra as well, as we know. Yeah, I think this guy looks pretty solid. This is a nice looking epic. I like him. This could give you an accessible champion that's going to be great for both of those areas, which are very, very tough. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, the new Void Legendary, Grazur Iron Gut. Look at this beast. He has a shield on his right hand. He has a shield on his left hand. That's right. He's walking into battle with 2 shields. He looks very similar to, very much reminds me of Balthus Droglord here with the 2 shields, but he's like a way cooler version of that. And he's an ogre, which makes him cooler as well. Finally, a new ogre. Finally, new ogre legendary. Let's take a look at him. So base stats, 18.6k HP, 1300 defense, 102 speed. Okay. So he's got lots of resistant accuracy in there, and he's solidly tanky, but not looking too crazy. Let's check out his kit. He's a defense-based legendary. Defend the wall! Exclamation mark. Attacks all enemies, damage based on defense. Put a shield buff on all allies except this champion for 1 turn. Value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense. That is already an exciting A1. It's an AoE, but then also putting out a shield proportional to defense. We'll have to see what the scaling on this is. But as we know, Helicath shield scaling off defense is really strong. Valkyrie shield scaling off defense is strong. Now, this is just an A1. I'm expecting it to be much weaker, but he's still going to be pumping out, hopefully, a consistently decent number of shields with his A1. Healing Bombardment is A2, 4-turn booking to a 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, heals this champion by 10% of the damage dealt, increases the duration of all buffs and all allies by 1 turn, and this is the exciting thing, damage based on enemy max HP. Ooh, now we're talking. Okay, so an AoE 3-turn cooldown enemy max HP hit. We'll have to test this out, but we know how good champions like Husk and Royal Guard are for, I mean, so many dungeon bosses. And of course, for the Hydra, he's coming in with a lot of stuff we like to see. Healing himself, well, this is going to do a ton of healing if he hits a boss. Going to massively heal him if he hits a boss. But yeah, AoE enemy max HP hit with a buff duration increase is very good on a 3-turn. Let none pass! Exclamation mark. 4-turn book into 3-turn cooldown. Attacks all enemies again. 75 book to 100% chance of provoke. And also puts increased resistance and increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. Damage based on defense. Another crazy good move. Oh, this is so good. AoE attack with 100% chance to provoke on a 3-turn. That's great for Head of Decay. That's even, it could be decent in Arena. That also brings increased resist and increased defense. So he can open with this move. Then he can follow up with a buff extension. He can keep, he's the 2nd champion after Oella. They really want increased resistance to be meta. This is absolutely massive. He can keep up increased resist and increased defense on your team 100% of the time just by himself, which is big. Also providing the increased defense from himself means his A1, that shield is going to always have that increased defense boost. Pretty huge. He's got good base resistance to make this work as well. Then his passive, this wall won't fall! Exclamation mark. 4-turn cooldown on the active effect. The active effect is unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn before receiving a fatal hit. Okay. He's going to be pretty tanky, but that's still nice, I suppose. Then the passive is, oh, it's insane. Whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies except this champion by 70% of the damage received. Only 35% of the damage from boss attacks. No cooldown. Ladies and gentlemen, this champion is going to be insane. Vogoth heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. This guy, 70%. This is Vogoth 2.0. Not only is he Vogoth 2.0, but he also brings AoE provoke, AoE, increased resist, increased defense, buff extension, an AoE, enemy max HP nuke, and an AoE A1 that is putting out shields scaling off his defense. This champion is insane. 33% ally defense in all battles, aura as well. Is this your new most wanted Void Legendary or what? This is crazy, crazy. It's certainly interesting in the sense that, yeah, for Hydra, like, it's going to depend how hard. He has an AoE attack, by the way, and every single move is an AoE attack. Every move is AoE. It's going to depend how hard he hits. Here's the thing. Like, if you build his defense and crit damage super high, he's going to be kind of squishy, or at least, you know, he's not going to have that much max HP. And with all defense stacking on him, if you do stack defense, he's not going to take that much damage. So, yeah, that's something to watch out for. If you're building him to hit hard with his defense scaling moves, maybe his Vogoth-esque healing isn't actually going to be that strong. But it might still be the way to go, honestly. I think almost definitely building him. If you're looking for Hydra, you're almost definitely building him fast with high crit damage and probably high defense. Right? He's gonna heal himself tons off this. He gives himself unkillable even if you drop low. I don't see him being an issue keeping him alive for Hydra, and he's just gonna help keep your team alive with the passive and the A1. And yeah, also this is just insane. His toolkit for Hydra looks absolutely crazy. I certainly think looking for future difficulties of Hydra, imagining those coming in the future, I think having basically permanent increased resist defense with an enemy, I think this guy is going to be S tier, S plus. This guy is going to be best in slot really for Hydra. He is absolutely insanely good. It'd be my initial impression for like arena and stuff like that for PvP content. I mean, he's still bringing in that crazy Vogoth passive. The unkillable is going to be really good in arena. So that passive is nuts for arena. He does bring increased resist, increased defense, and he extends those as well. That's kind of really good too. So he could even be a pain in arena. Very intrigued what you think of Grazer Irongood. I think though that this guy looks bananas. I think this guy looks super good. And definitely one I'm hoping to pull. I'd probably rather have an Acrisia, I think, but I don't know. This guy definitely screams new Hydra MVP. He looks insane. And there you go, guys. They are all the new champions coming in this patch. Let me know what you think. I think we've got a really good batch here. We've got a solid set of epics, actually a couple of really good Fire Knight epics, and the legendaries. Great Void legendary. And yeah, very intrigued by this new duo in Alsgore and Jetni the Giant. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon for even more test server content. Don't go anywhere. Or, well, do go somewhere, but come back. Yes, but please go wherever you want. Be free. But do come back. Do come back. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.